I'm a professional scientist. I trained in biochemistry, toxicology, pharmacology, worked in the pharmaceutical industry and then the biotech industry for over 30 years. I have not yet fully come to terms with my work in the industry. I know I was a good person, but I've clearly been working in a place that's not good. I, as a scientist, have never used the expression, the science. I've never heard a single scientist in my life use the expression, the science. So when a personality tells you, follow the science, they're lying. That's not how it works. Science works by questioning. You question everything. I'm much more worried about answers that can't be questioned than questions that can't be asked. That's the problem. So first, we have all been lied to. If you're still watching the mainstream media, I strongly suggest you stop doing it, because they only tell you lies. Pretty much about anything. They've lied about the entire pandemic. Now, I started in 2020 believing that viruses transmitted respiratory diseases from one person to another. I no longer believe that. There was no pandemic. The deaths started only after the WHO declared the pandemic, and the deaths occurred, I believe, due to mistreatment in hospitals with ventilation and remdesivir. All you doctors who've sedated, ventilated patients, you're guilty of murder. You know that. That's why we allegedly suddenly needed 30,000 ventilators. That's not how you treat someone with an influenza-like illness. There's never been a pandemic. Therefore, there was never any virus. There was never any virus, and the PCR test is the only evidence they've ever given you that there is one. And I told you early on, and many others have told you, that you cannot use that test. Its inventor told us that you can't use that test for clinical diagnoses. Then you look at our Prime Minister of the day, Boris Johnson, having parties in his offices. I think that tells you a number of things about him, but the most important now is he was not frightened of catching a dread disease, was he? He knew there wasn't one. So you look at the epidemiology, you look at the behaviour, you look at the rotten tests that they imposed, no pandemic. So why did they then lock you down, smash the economy, separate your families? Why did they make you wear masks? And then finally, and this is where it's going to get really nasty, why did they insist that you get jabbed with these alleged vaccines when there wasn't an agent that you needed protecting against? So, this is the important bit. I can read intent in the design of a medicine that I look at. When I looked at the design of these alleged vaccines, I saw a deliberate intent to injure, to maim, and to kill. mRNA is an unprecedented technology. That means there are no medicines like this in the world. What it does is it takes genetic code inside your cells, and then you copy that message into a protein. What your body is doing is making a little piece of a foreign organism. That is non-self. Your body is finely tuned to detect self, and it leaves it alone, and it will absolutely unleash the troops against any cell that's expressing non-self. I am telling you, mRNA-based products can only produce injury, and that was the design intent of these materials. They are making factories around the world right now to make mRNA vaccines, to build on the success of the COVID-19 vaccines. No, they're building factories that will produce materials that will injure, maim, and kill people who take them. The second piece of information I will give you is that at least the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines were wrapped in something called lipid nanoparticles. But what was the design intent? Lipid nanoparticles are like stealthy movers. They glide around your body, they go through membranes because they're made of something like membranes. So that means the material injected in your shoulder went everywhere in your body. And given what I've just told you about what happens when your cells express this foreign protein, you get autoimmune attack wherever it's picked up. That's why you can get brain injury, you can get heart attacks, you can get renal failure, you can have premature loss of your baby. It's designed into the structures of these so-called vaccines. So no pandemic. These things have been assembled to injure you. But the truth is, there is strong evidence of a supranational plot to pretend that there's one crisis after another to which you have to react. On this occasion, an infectious disease. I think they're going to do it again and again and again. We were told that this alleged virus, COVID-19, was a particular threat to the elderly and ill. Why then are they chasing children and babies? It's nothing to do with protecting you against a virus. They're trying to get a poisonous material into every one of you, and they won't stop. So why did the College of Obstetrics and Gynecology lie and advise pregnant women to go and get jabbed? Doesn't that fit with what I've just told you? They wanted this in everybody. This is a murderous attack on humanity. It starts above the level of nation. That's why the lockdown stuff was the thing that leapt at me. It's not in any country's pandemic plan, and yet they all did it at the same time. It's there. That's where it's coming from, above us, above the nation. What they're going to do next, I promise you, I just know it, they're going to impose a digital ID on everybody. Decline it. Decline it. You do not need a digital ID to live your peaceful life. Evidence, the last hundreds of years. You do not need it. They need you to have it. Decline it. What else have they got cooking? Central bank digital currencies. Yes, it's very different from your bank card because it's a real-time transaction that looks for where you are and what you're buying before it says yes or no. Your current bank card only asks, have you got the money? Use cash at every possible opportunity. Decline business with anyone who won't accept it. Now, this is going to involve you in inconvenience. Just like declining digital ID is going to involve you in inconvenience. If you don't accept the inconvenience, you've stepped into what I believe will be the human slaughterhouse. I think they plan to take digital tyrannical control of everybody and then kill most people. If you believe the government narrative and I'm right, you'll lose your freedom and probably your life. When I realised the kind of stuff we were dealing with, I thought I can do one of two things now. I can speak out or I can not speak out. If you think it's courageous, me speaking out, think how horrible it will be if you don't speak out. You must speak out. I can't reach the people you know who aren't here, and the media's never going to tell them. Final thing. I've been trained all my life to distinguish good and bad. Like advertising, which product do you prefer? Do you like this person? Which party do you like? Good, bad, good, bad. Wrong dimension. Good versus evil is the dimension you need to look at.
Make some noise for Yeadon, please, guys.